back. I probably won't be doing my oceanic tonight. It's just I might, I might, because we'll talk about that in a minute. I'm waiting to see. I've got someone that might be coming up to join us. I'm going to turn on the restream.
Chat 6 of 66. Access the internet tool.
The chat. You guys can join in on the chat if you like.
Restream chat row 1 column. Type a message. Edit. Click of disable button. Enable button.
But seeing if Brandon's going to come up, he might.
Clickable menu button sub menu. Type a message. Edit blank.
We'll find out in a minute. But I wanted to enable the chat just in case you guys wanted to ask questions or talk about it. Anything like that. You guys can definitely do so. So I was working on getting ready to do a flight earlier, and basically I had to end the flight. I mean, my AirAC data was out of date, so I was getting ready to do an update, but I was going to stay streaming. And then I'm waiting to see if he's coming or not.
9 cellular 9:57 p.m. 2 notifications.
Let me find out, and if not, then I'll go and tell a story. But tell Brandon, you coming up or not?
Sending to Brandon Armstrong. Are you coming up or not?
Send. I don't want to tell the story twice. So if I want to make sure if he's going to come up, then I'll wait for him to, and then I'll continue on with it. But yeah, so.
Flashlight off. Button. Camera. Button.
Come on, homie, you alive or not?
Camera. Flashlight. Shout out blocked. Messenger comment 11. Twitch comment 9:50. Monday comment December 26th.
Hold on, guys. Call Brandon Armstrong.
Passcode field. You'll need to unlock your.
Call Brandon.
You'll need to unlock your.
Call Brandon.
Calling Brandon Armstrong.
Sometimes it says you need to unlock, but you don't. Hey, well, I'm gonna share this with people on the stream too, but I don't want you to, yeah, come up to the server for a minute. All right. So we're gonna wait on him, then I'll go on with the story. And some might be like, well, why is this on the VVI pilots? Well, this is a big part of my life too, right? Simming is a huge part of my life, but my guide dog has been a life changer part of my life. Well, at least the temperature's not too bad in here today in the camper. It's actually not that cold at all, which I'm impressed. But when the wind is not blowing like crazy out there, makes a big difference. Huge difference.
Brandon logged on to the server. Brandon joined channel root. Button on the connected channels button. Settings button. No next button. Ops 28.1.2 left parent. 6 ops 20. Restream chat row 1 column 2. Restream chat row 1 column 1.
Okay, there you are. So I got the chat open for you guys. If you want to join in the conversation, you're welcome to.
The Hangout Dash Team Talk 5 the Hangout Dash Team Talk 5 Classic V 5.6.3.
Let me start where it was, where it started. So earlier, before I even started the flight, I believe Brandon was still on here with me when this happened. I got a call, and it was from inside the house because I stay in another area, And they said, come in, your dog, we found blood. We don't know what's going on. They thought it was from her ear. And is my audio good, I'm guessing? Am I good?
Yeah, you're good.
And they thought it was from her ear. Well, then I got inside, and it wasn't from her ear. It was actually, I thought it was coming from, I thought she had a bad tooth. Because when dogs get older, when they get 12, 13 years old, not very many dogs at that age are going to have, outstanding teeth.
Yeah.
You can brush them and take care of them, their whole life. But at some point, they just get they just get old. They get old. Anyway, so I thought that's what it was. And there was a decent amount of blood, it was on her leg and on the floor. So we got that up. And things seemed like they were okay. So I said, well, let's just let her relax. And I'll get her in somewhere tomorrow. Because the closest urgent place was 3 hours away. And they want $400 up front. And that's not even counting the whatever they do. That don't count tests. That doesn't count. That doesn't even count looking at her. That's just the after hour fee that they charge. It's ridiculous. Ridiculous.
Yeah.
Now, I know what someone's going to say. Well, if you have a dog, you need to be responsible and make sure you got the money to take care of them. Well, that's not the case. Okay. Anyway, who is this? Hold on, Mike. I'm right in the middle of something. What? I said what, Crystal? Keep an eye on her. Alright, keep an eye. Alright. Alright. Let me know anything else. Alright. Bye. So, anyway, obviously we take care of our animals and when they go to the vets and all that, and always have. I've always took good care of Sarah. By the way, her name's Sarah. She's a yellow lab. She's probably around 70 pounds now. She's lost quite a bit of weight from just being old. She was 84. That's about her average weight. 83, 82. I don't know. 80, anywhere from 80 to on a bad month through the winter. I've seen her get up to 87. But in the winter's rough. Anyway, so I thought it was her, with her tooth, and things seemed like they were getting better. So I came back out and I set up that flight again that I'd been working on with you, Brandon. I'd been working on the 744, and
yeah,
got everything together. And I was going through my CDU and all that, and it was telling me my AirAct data was out of date. And I'm like, what the hell? No, it's not. So I was like, well, let me see if I can get this program. Well, then I went to program the flight, and things just wasn't making sense. On my leg page, on the last, not the very last page, but the second to the last, where it would have your, your localizer, you got the waypoint where you catch your localizer. Then you got another waypoint between that and the runway. And so when I went there and looked, it had several different runways. The AirAct data was just out of whack. You could tell by the way it was showing stuff. You're like, what is this? What is this? So I was like, okay, I'm going to close this in, you guys, but I'm not going to get off the stream. I'm just going to update my AirAct data. We'll stay on stream, and I'll just update it. Well, then my phone went off. And guys, that's why I always answer my phone. If I'm streaming and I get a call with, and I can't go into detail on live stream, but with stuff that I do, with career stuff and all that, I have to answer.
Yeah.
I have to. Because sometimes calls can go to my personal phone. And so, which I know Brandon already knows that. He well knows about how that works.
Yep.
If I didn't answer, it wouldn't be good for me. So, anyway, so I always got to answer, and that's why I do that on streams. Now, you guys know. And I got a call when I was getting ready to do the update. I closed the sim, and my son was on the phone this time. He said, "Dad." Actually, no. He came to the door. Yeah, he didn't call the second time. The first time, I got a call from her the first time. Okay. Second time, it was he came to the door, and he had said, I got to talk to you real quick. So I muted the mic for a second. I think I did. Maybe I didn't. I don't remember. And he said, she's not doing good. There's more blood everywhere. And I thought, what is going on here? Get in there, and she's bleeding out of her mouth and out of her nose.
Oh.
Both. The bleeding doesn't go constant. Like, it'll bleed a little bit, then it stops. And because of the holidays, I really can't get her in nowhere until in the morning. So that's what we're trying to do, get her through the night. And she's she's weak. She's not so weak where she can't do nothing, like where she lost so much blood she can't, I wouldn't say she's on like the line of dying in the next hour or nothing like that.
Right.
But because of the amount of blood that she lost from where it's been off and on, I think that's made her tired. So that's why I had to leave the stream, because of that. I remember saying, I got to go. It's an emergency. It's about my dog. I got to go. And I didn't hesitate with nothing else. I just closed disconnected the stream and went and took care of her. So, to help you guys better understand a little more about Sarah, and Brandon knows everything about Sarah. Brandon knows her very well for a long time. I got Sarah when I was in Ohio. I've had her for a little, I'd say roughly 11 years. Because I got her when she was just a little over a year old. And I'm telling you now, just for my preference, I'm not saying everybody should do it, but for my preference, for my situation at the time, having a guide dog changed my life. That dog in there changed my life 100%. Taught me about freedom, taught me about self-perspective, taught me about reliability, responsibility, and taught me about doing for me, well, for her too, because she's my guide dog, but when I did for me, I'm doing for her too, right? Like, it's kind of a package deal. But she's changed my life in a lot of ways. And when an emergency comes up, I'm not going to hesitate to go and take care of my dog. And this is something I'm not saying that she's going to die, because maybe she's not. But if she's got that kind of bleeding going on in there somewhere, the things that I've been told and that I've looked up, it could be a really bad upper respiratory infection, which could be from her age, or it could be what's it called, tumors or whatever, like, basically it could be like cancer or something like that. And it could be in her throat, who knows, in her throat, Could be in the back of her nose. You know, who knows where it is. But you know, all you can do is the thing I can tell anybody that will ever have a guide dog, and I'm actually going to share this on a couple other channels that to have a guide dog though, you got to be prepared for this day. And I'm going to tell you now, you're never going to be. You're never going to be prepared for the day that your dog is almost or pretty much at the last of their limb.
Yeah.
You know, and she's been a good guide dog to me. Like I said, anytime I'm doing streaming and stuff, Brandon could always hear her. She's always right there with me. When she hurt her hip, she had to lay on the opposite side of the desk, and she did not. Oh man, she did not like that at all. But
oh, she definitely didn't.
She made sure she could see me though. It was a dog. She's a dog that I wasn't letting her out of my. You know, she wouldn't let me out of her sight.
Yeah.
If I was in the other room and like somebody accidentally shut the door, she wouldn't bark. She would do like a whine / bark, like a, you know,
Yeah.
like trying to talk to me. Like I hear you. I'm coming, Sarah. Open the door and she's good. She'd lay right there and look at me like, okay, we're good.
3 notifications.
You know, she's a good dog, and she has done a lot for me. And I encourage anybody that has the ability to do it to get a guide
App
dog.
Start
But
cursor.
I got to tell you, when you get one, you got to be able to understand and accept that one day that dog will leave, and there's nothing we can do about it. It's just no matter how hard you want to come up with ways to help them, when it's their time, it's their time, and you got to be prepared for that to the best of your ability. Like I said, I'm not prepared for it, but it's part of having a guide dog.
Who would be prepared for something like that? Like any pet, guide dog, whatever. You know, you're never prepared for that moment when they take their last breath.
Yeah, exactly. And you know, I always said, someone asked me and said, what are you going to do when she goes? Are you going to bury her? I can tell you right now, I'm not going to bury her. And here's why. Because where I'm living is not this is not my final foundation. So, what would I do? Bury her in a yard and then her end up being in a yard somewhere where I couldn't come back and give my respects? And I'm not putting her in a pet, whatchamacallit. I know they got some, but they're not everywhere. You gotta, I believe there's a few here in Indiana, but closest one to me, I believe they said was 4 hours, something like that. I don't even know, but that's not what we're going to do with her. I'm going to have have her cremated. And no, that's not easy to say, you guys, but it's just the facts of it. It's what's going to happen. She'll be cremated when she does die. And, you know, I might get her there and I might say, hey, she's okay. This is what it was. It wasn't nothing as bad as what you thought. Well, at least I'm still prepared for it. Right? But I'm thinking we're on our last legs here with her.
Yeah.
I'm going to have her cremated, but I'm also going to have, you can take all kinds of different types of jewelry now and have acid put in it. So I'm going to have a puppy paw. It's like it's almost like glass, but it's more of a solid, thicker glass. I'm gonna have some acid put in that, put that on a necklace, and then obviously I'll wear that necklace. And I'll get another guide dog, and I'll do the same thing. And then I'll always have my best friends right there with me, no matter where I go. A part of them will always be with me. Obviously in my heart, but also around my neck closest to my heart. And then the rest of them in a what do you call it, a urn?
An urn.
An urn. And then I'll have the rest of them in an urn and put them on a shelf somewhere, and then that's that. So, I just want to say, I mean, I know some other people that's had guide dogs in the past, and it wasn't good. I had to end up, turning some people in, which I did, because when you get a guide dog, you don't leave it at your parents and then move out of state. And that's what one person did. They got a guide dog.
Wow.
And then a year later, they leave the dog with their parents and they move out of state. And they say, well, why is it a big deal? Why is it any of your business? I said, listen, what you do with your life is none of my business. But I'm a part of the guide dog community, in total, in unity of all of it. So that's my business, and that's your business. If you have a guide dog and someone's doing that, that's your business. Because we all have a responsibility when we own a guide dog, and that responsibility is to make sure that we give these guide dogs the best of a life that we can give them. And if we don't need them, if we can look at a dog and say, I'm moving, I don't really need you, then that dog needs to go back where you got it. Period. That's where I stand on it. Any thoughts on that, Brandon?
Yep, I agree.
No, I said any thoughts on that? Is my audio good enough? You sure you can hear me? Are we good?
Yeah, I can hear you just fine.
Okay.
I don't know why people would do that kind of ridiculousness, and I totally agree with you. Like, if you don't need a guide dog and you can say, I don't need this dog, just give it back to the school. Give it to, they'll retrain it, give it to somebody who does.
There's so many people out there that need them. For example, when I went and got my guide dog, I had to go on a list. And so, for example,
Ryan logged onto the server. Ryan joined channel
say
root.
somebody went before me,
Ryan
then
left
that,
channel root. Ryan
took
joined
my
channel to
took
hang out
my
with Baron.
place
3 like
away.
Baron.
Well, then I wouldn't get that dog, and that person got a dog. Let's say they would have got Sarah, and then just left her with their parents, and said, "Well, I'm going to leave them with my parents, and my parents are lonely." No, that's a guide dog. That's not a dog to give companionship to your parents or your friend or your wife or your husband. There's a responsibility behind it, and if you can't be responsible, then don't get a guide dog. Period. Simple as that. And so, I
gotta say, and if you're gonna get a guide dog, and this is the reason I haven't gotten one, don't let your O&M skills go out the window like your cane skills. Like I can't tell you the number of times I've seen people in my own state when I've been on trips that have had guide dogs and they just let their cane skills go out the window.
I don't see how, because once you learn how to use a cane, you just don't forget. And working with a guide and working with a guide dog, honestly, improves your O&M because
it's not the fact that they let their skills like learning how to use a cane go out the window. It's the fact that they've not like. I understand they have to rely on their dog, but I don't know how to put this without sounding kind of mean, but they've never really
neglect
factored.
I mean, they choose not to use them, and they neglect them, and they forget that the cane is existent. Which I'm a
that's what you're saying. Yeah, get a guide dog and then not use your guide dog, but then not use your cane neither. I get you.
Yeah,
right.
I'm a little biased on this one only because I, know the training, but also have a guide dog myself, and I think like as a guide dog user, you should incorporate cane into the use of a guide dog. In fact, in some schools, especially the IGDF, they say like take your cane with you with your guide dog, and when you're in an unfamiliar area, you need to use your cane to understand that area before talking to your guide dog and telling your dog where to go. Otherwise, you're going to confuse the shit out of your dog, right?
Right.
So,
right.
Yeah.
And I was on a trip in 2015, and we were at a casino in Louisiana, and there was a lady that had a guide dog. She had a guide dog named Yukon, and this was an unfamiliar place. She didn't know the area, and instead of actually having her cane with her to help her, I remember we were downstairs one day, and we were at a table, and I was eating something, and she says, "Yukon, find the door," and he led her right back to the table where we were, and he started smelling me and smelling for the food, and she goes,
"Well,
I can't believe you did that."
That's
and I was
bad.
like,
That's
well,
poor handling.
that's just because she got her dog trained on letting the dog do that.
Yeah.
Because let me tell you something. Since I've had guide dogs, Sarah has never, ever, not even attempted to put her nose to a table.
Nope.
As a matter of fact,
that's handling.
if I'm at a table and I'm somewhere, a restaurant or wherever, Sarah, it got to where she just knew what to do. I didn't even have, me and Sarah, we bonded so well that
you don't even have to say anything.
It was like mind reading, like mental connection. Like for example, you're walking down the sidewalk, you got your dog on your left side, obviously, and you're going, and you get to a curb, and then you, instead of wanting to cross, you're just going to turn left and keep going on the same side, right? You're just making a left. I get to that curb, and I wouldn't even have to say left, just by her feeling the way that my hand would position the harness. She'd just turn that way. She would know. Crossing roads, obviously, I always used forward, but even right before I'd say forward, she was ready to go because she would feel that gesture, kind of even that little bit of a movement. If there's a dog that would deserve a reward for obedience, technically I could have put her in. They've got different things you can go with your guide dogs and do that, but I don't see my dog as, it's not a trophy and it's not a competition, so I never did believe in doing that. But I'm saying she would have deserved and probably won, top place, because she just knew, man. She
It's the bond you have with your dog. I think, and ultimately, if you, how do I say this? If you have a guide dog and you start to neglect your dog, or you start to kind of do your own thing and not really try to work on that bond with your dog, you're not going to have as good of a partnership, and your dog's just going to go willy-nilly, do whatever your dog wants. But if you bond with your dog and get to a point where you guys are inseparable, And this kind of goes back to what you were saying earlier, John. Like, don't leave your dog somewhere. If you go somewhere, go with your dog. Go, that
Yeah.
guide
And
dogs
I-
are able to go everywhere.
And I mean,
And
I told the dude, I said, let me tell you something, Ryan. I said, I'm gonna give you a week to get back home with your dog, or I'm gonna call the school in Michigan, and you're gonna lose your dog. Well, he lost his dog because he didn't believe me. He didn't believe me. He's like, you're not going to do that. He's like, you don't even know their information. What, are you an idiot? Come on, dude. 5 seconds and I got it. Like,
Yeah.
and the other thing, like, all these different schools that I've seen, every one of them's got good names and bad names, but at the end of the day, it's all about who was your trainer for your dog and what kind of dog did you get, and how and did you get connected with a good one? Because I went to a place where people would say bad stuff about the school, and I'm gonna tell you right now, my dog's been 100%.
I've seen many dogs come out of schools where people have not said wonderful things.
Yeah.
And I think that,
Well, I think all the schools have that, right? Like,
Yeah.
I went to Pilots, and everybody's like, oh, no, Pilots bad. And I'm like, well, where did you go? And they're like, well, I went to the one in Florida. I'm like, oh, no, that's bad. I didn't think it was bad. I was just being, like, making the point. Like, oh, that's bad, too, Like, they all got... But I had an outstanding trainer for my dog.
Yeah.
And an outstanding dog. And guess where I'm going to go when I go back? I'm going to go to Pilot.
Yeah.
Because,
I'm gonna.
it's
Yeah,
convenience.
I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go and make a quick phone call, but I got one more story before I jump out. It's funny you bring up Pilot because I wish I would have known you several years ago. There was a lady in Minnesota who got a dog from there, and I felt bad for the poor dog because she would leave this dog at home in a crate,
Oh my God.
and the poor dog would whine, cry, and
No.
then she'd be like, "I don't understand why," blah 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 blah. And I'm just
Well,
like,
I hate.
The thing is, I'll tell you
I'm
why
the-
she
I'm the
left
kind
it
of
in the
person-
crate, because the dogs love crates. So she probably thought, oh well, they love it in there, so I'll just leave her there.
I'll tell you, I hate putting my dog in a crate so damn much that I stopped using PetSmart and other places as groomers and started doing mobile groomers. So that way they would actually come to the house and do because not only do they get one-on-one attention with their groomer for 45 minutes, but the groomer actually puts your dog on the top of the list, cares about your dog, and is doing that job because they want to. I got so tired of going into a pet store to groom my dog, come back 3.5 hours later, and find my dog was in a cage for an hour. It's like...
Yeah. And hold on a second, Brandon. We'll end this. Well, I'm not going to leave the server. We'll end the stream here in a minute, and then I'll let you jump.
okay.
So, anyway, guys, the bottom line is, that's the story about my guide dog. She's 12 years old. She's going on 13. I expected things to get worse. I mean, she got, what was it, 6 months ago, she got to where she couldn't hardly walk at all. And we thought she was done.
About 6 months ago.
We thought she was done. And I'll be daggone, I took her to the vet. They gave her some pain medication, gave her a shot, a steroid shot. And she went back to walking now. And you guys, it's hard for you guys to be amazed by it because you're not really knowing, but if you would have seen how she was with not able to walk hardly to the way she is, like right now, I can go in the house, even with her the way she is right now. I can go in there and call her name. She'll be up on her feet.
Yep.
Brandon, she's a little slow right now because she's weak. She's lost some blood, so she's not doing good.
Right.
But anyway, I wanted to update you guys on what was going on with her. And now you get that, and you guys now know. If I'm live streaming or not, I know some people don't do that, but I will. If I get a call in live stream, I'm answering the call. One,
Yeah,
my
you
career's
have
based
to.
around it. Number two, my guide dog, even though she can walk, here out here where I work, she can't really come up these stairs. They're too steep, and
Yeah.
it's not easy to pick up a guide dog, and then, especially when I'm not out here constantly. You know, I'm in and out, so it's like you stay in here, I'll come in and out and check on you, and that's what I do.
Well, and it's more comfortable for her that way too.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, she don't like it
And
out
it's
here.
cold as hell, so I mean.
Yeah. Well, I finally got this place warmed up in here, but
Well, I meant
anyway,
outside,
well,
but-
yeah, it's colder than hell outside. But that's the story, guys. That's why I dropped my stream earlier. You know, when I heard emergency, your dog's got a problem. There's no question it. I'm gone.
Nothing's more important.
Yeah,
Nothing's more
exactly.
important.
So, but I wanted to let you guys know, that way everybody knew what kind of was going on. You know, maybe maybe you're curious or you want to know, how things are going. So that's where we stand. And unfortunately, I can tell you right now, there's going to be a message at some point when I've got to announce that I've had to let my dog go, because the one thing that I can guarantee you
Normal
is I
cursor.
love and respect my dog enough, and I love myself
cursor.
enough to know that if she's suffering and there's nothing that can be done, I will
It's
not let her
time.
live. I will not let my dog live in pain. I will not let my dog live in conditions that she cannot understand. For example, if she's going to the bathroom all over herself, and there's nothing I can do to fix that, or the vet can fix that, or this condition right here. If they say, look, this is what it is, and it's only going to get worse, it's going to be one hard fucking
Yeah.
day, pardon my French. But
Oh, no doubt.
my dog is going to
Nobody
be
would
given
expect you to say anything else.
my dog is going to be given a shot that's going to make her comfortable. I'm going to say my goodbyes. Rest in peace, Sarah. That's it. Because
Yeah.
you got listen, anybody out there, if you're going to own a guide dog, don't get a guide dog unless you are prepared. You have got to be mentally, physically, emotionally prepared to accept a guide dog, and also to let one go. You got to. So that's all I got for you guys now.
Restream chat ops 28.1 ops
Brandon, thanks for coming up,
28.1.2
but I
left.
didn't want to leave that story,
Start
No
worship.
problem.
Start recording.
Uh,
Checkbox not checked. Stop streaming. Checkbox checked.
leave yell that.
Stop streaming. Checkbox checked.
Guys, I appreciate all of you. I might do a flight tonight. I mean, look, my dog's not doing good, but you can't sit around and mope about it and drag yourself down. That don't fix anything. So I might do another flight. We'll see what happens. I don't know. We'll see. I don't know. I'm not going to say I'm not going to fly, because then you guys see me on. Well, I thought you wouldn't go fly. Well, I changed my mind. All right, guys, I'm out of here. I will tell you it's going to be in 7-4 once I figure out the Eric data bullcrap. So
Stop streaming. Checkbox checked.
y'all take care, and if you got a guide dog, please take care of it. Love it the way that you would love anybody else in your home. I mean, I tell my family all the time, this dog has been in my house for 11 years, and nobody will treat that dog any different than a close family member. So. All right, y'all, take care. And remember, if you would like to stream your own stuff on YouTube or restream, the actual restream.io, there's a link down below. You can sign up. You get $10. $10 is $10, right? So get that $10 and click on that link and start doing some streaming. But yeah, all right, guys, take care.
Stop streaming. Checkbox checked.
We'll talk to you soon.